Well, let's start rolling right into this. Maybe in like not a creepy way.
Yeah, I'll have to do it with my wife in the room. You could be eating a box of Eggos every single day.
With maple syrup and bacon. Roll out of bed. I just comb my beard, brush my teeth.
I don't even do half of that. Kissing babies and signing checks.
Oh, writing checks.
Breaking necks. Breaking necks. Okay, bro.
Yeah, go down, bro.
You want to just start over again?
Let's do it all.
Okay.
Welcome to the PM&A podcast.
What's up, guys? What's up, world?
What's up, Earthlings?
Guys, girls, people of the world,
And everybody in between.
welcome to the PM&A podcast.
Home of smooth jabs.
And beards and funny things and all things in between.
And more jazz. So we would like to kick this thing off with the Bearded Lumberjack, our newest sponsor to the podcast. He is giving a promo code to all you hip, cool cats for 15% off of anything off the site-wide. Head down to and up.
Head down, head up, head sideways, head left.
Get on up.
Get on over.
Get on whenever. So head down to the Bearded Lumberjack, his website. You can get there from his Instagram account as well. And click on just about anything you're looking for. He's got beard balm. He's got beard oil, lots of beard oil, and his new face lotion. The beard oil is the tobacco and leather, Cubans and cognac, old fashioned. I think he's got a couple more on there as well. And the face lotion now, he has black amber, saddlewood, and the cedarwood peppermint. Just jump on there, guys. His product is all Canadian sourced. It is amazing product. I use it myself on my beard. You know, keeps it nice, keeps it healthy, looking nice. Because the last thing you want to do is walk around looking homeless, especially now, you know, when we only have so much time when your face isn't covered up nowadays. So get on down there and hook yourself up.
Get on down. Get on up.
Hook yourself up with some great beard product.
Man, he does a good job. We also want to talk to you about the wonderful gentlemen and ladies who run Wavemaker Brewery in Cambridge, Ontario, which is located at 639 Laurel Street, if you didn't know. They are a craft brewery, and they make amazing brews. They have a patio outside right now for people to hang out and go get some brews. And right now, we are in Phase 3 in Ontario, so that means we're allowed to go into the tap room again.
They've tapped into it again.
We've tapped into it again. Mind you, when you walk into the business, like all our businesses in Ontario right now, Southern Ontario, Phase 3, you must be wearing a face mask. Don't be a weirdo who doesn't wear a face mask. Wear the face mask for 5 minutes, order your beer, and then of course you can take the mask off because you're drinking your beer, you weirdo. Wear the mask for 5 minutes. That's all we're asking you to do.
Don't fuck up Phase 3,
Guys, Wavemaker also has the option, if you don't want to go out, if you're still hiding in your bunker and you want someone to bring you your beer, head to the online store. They accept e-transfers, they accept credit card, and they deliver all over Ontario. They also have curbside pickup, so you can come over to the brewery. You can pre-order it. Mm-hmm. You can go, hey, I'm outside. Can you bring me my beer? I don't want to touch or talk to people because I don't want to wear a mask.
Because I listen to smooth jazz.
Yeah. So head on down to Wavemaker. Right now there are so many options to get your beer, and they do such a lovely job in Cambridge, Ontario. Get off your ass
and fill up your glass with smooth jazz.
Guys, Wavemaker beer is just one of our favorites, and they are a sponsor, and they do such a good job. We also want to talk to you about something close to home, something close to our hearts. We had a guest on a little while ago. His name is Chris Van Dyke. And Chris recently had a baby girl. And Chris has been thinking about it and working hard, and he is quite the athlete.
He's the guy that eats trees.
No, he doesn't eat trees. He plants trees.
Oh, plants trees.
But what he wants to do is he's starting a little campaign for female education. So Chris is starting this thing called 1,000 Steps for Charity, and this is Chris's fundraiser for girls' education. So what it is run by a company called CamFed, which is Campaign for Female Education. Women are the most important thing in the world, and people are afraid of smart women because women are the smartest people in the world. In third world countries, females do not have the option to go to school, but this organization is helping promote education in third world countries by giving money and funds and providing funds. If you look at the website for CanFed, there's amazing stories and there's amazing documentation. It is such a wonderful charity. And over 94% of the profits actually go into the charity. They don't keep a lot of the funds themselves. So Chris Van Dyke, on September the 5th, starting at 6 a.m., is going to walk over 100,000 steps.
Dear God.
Has anyone ever tried walking 1,000 steps or 500 steps or has one of those cool step trackers on their hands? Yeah, good luck.
I walk out to the car and I'm pissed.
Yeah, I pissed all the time. So anyway, but Chris is doing a charity. He's going to walk 100,000 steps on September the 5th starting at 6 a.m. and his goal is $500. He wants to raise $500 in one day for CamFed. The ways that you can kind of donate directly is you can go to the link for Chris's Facebook, basically his Facebook.
Is it just Facebook?
Well, no. So you can go to CamFed on the actual website and you can donate money. But if you want to support it, it's pretty easy. You go to his Facebook page where the charity event is set up. You click on the donate button and donate a lump sum. But if you also want to raise the stakes, Chris is going to give people an option. You can direct message him on Facebook or his Instagram, and you can give the option of how many steps he actually does in the day. You can give him, like, let's say, for instance, if you want to give him 10 cents per so if you want to give him 10 cents per 1,000 steps, it ends up being about $10 for the whole day up to $100,000. So if you want to give him 50 cents per 1,000 steps, it's $50 for the day. So you have that option to kind of say, hey, I'm going to base it off of how many steps you actually do in the day. I'll give you money then, or you can do it through a lump sum. You basically, we will put up in the link in one of our bios for Chris's his Facebook page, but also we'll let you guys know in the upcoming weeks of when it's going to be happening. But his goal is $500, and it's 100,000 steps, and I think it's pretty amazing, and we want to be involved in it. So
100%. Like, we all came. Like, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for women. So.
Exactly, and like education is so important.
Yeah.
And, I recommend everyone go to the camfed.org page, do a little bit of reading on it.
Can you spell that, Jeremy?
CAMFED.org, and that's the website for the charity. Get some information. But we will put a link in the bio for Chris's Facebook page where the charity event is being set up. Thanks, guys. Today, we have the awesome chance, the awesome chats to hang out with one of the Brown brothers from the Brown Brothers Presents The Haunting Hour podcast. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man?
Doing well. How about you guys?
Pretty good. So before we get this started, now I'm a huge fan. We talked about this already, but huge fan. So I got to know how you guys start off every podcast. What's in your glass today?
Oh, you really want to know?
Yeah.
Get judged. I'm just drinking, regular Bud Light tonight.
That's all right.
So I gotta ask, because you can't see the numbers too much on Instagram. I know I told you I'm a huge fan. So I remember you guys were saying you were gonna up your level of
Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker every time that you guys got more followers. So what bottle are you at right now?
Oh, what the fuck are we at? I think we're gonna be at like double black soon because we got up to I think we're at 1,500 followers. So
dude, congrats,
awesome.
Man, congrats.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I was listening to which one was it? It was the one where you're like, "Are you drinking Johnny Walker Blue?" I was like, "Whoa, these guys are like high price Johnny Walker Blue." Jeez,
no, we can't afford that yet. No way in hell.
So, man, where are you guys from?
We are from Connecticut, in the United States of America. So we're up in the northeastern section there, where we're literally right on the border of Massachusetts and Rhode Island, it's a small little corner up in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So for those of the people that are listening that don't know your podcast, it's the Haunted Hour, and basically, what do you guys do on your podcast? Just describe it to our listeners.
More or less, man. It's whatever we are interested at, the given week or the given month, but it's everything that has to do with horror. And we range anywhere from true ghost stories. We don't really like to dive too much into true crime because I don't know. I feel like that gets beaten to death on every podcast.
Yeah, and some of it is bullshit too. So
no, exactly. Yeah. That's our biggest problem. So we wanted to keep it just spooky, scary stories that if there are true legends behind it, just to give people a taste if they've never heard it before, that kind of thing.
So in your area, is there anything around where you live, down in your area?
Dude, yeah. New England is just known for all the spooky shit. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Salem witch trials.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Learned about that a little bit in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably like an hour north of us. So that's like probably the biggest thing that goes on. And also in Connecticut, the true story of the haunting in Connecticut, where it happened in southern Connecticut, where this family they rented this, or they bought this house, and it turned out like the whole basement used to be an old morgue and crematorium.
Sweet Jesus.
And it's a true story where the kid would like pull down the walls and find bodies and shit. It's nuts.
No way.
Oh my God. So like, I'm not. So like, your podcast is probably like my limit to like scary stuff. I can't handle scary movies. I can't handle a lot. So like, but like when I'm listening to your podcast, it's the middle of the day. I'm like vacuuming the house. Like it's like safe. The sun's out. There's no way. Like so. Did you guys grow up really interested in that kind of stuff? Like, what peaked this? What started all this?
Dude, yeah, it's been, oh my God. I want to say it stems back to my mom, honestly. She's the best woman in the world, but she's super interested in everything like paranormal.
Oh, cool.
So like, I mean, while regular kids were getting like, I don't know,
nursery
rhymes.
Yeah,
like fairy tale stories to go to bed. My mom was like, she was reading Stephen King and like,
oh my God.
Goosebumps, and I mean, scary stories to tell in the dark. She was reading us all that kind of stuff.
That storybook is screwed.
Birds before
that
bed.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is such a screwed up book, man.
Dude, even the like all the drawings on it, like all like the illustrations are the creepiest thing ever.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. I remember. So as a kid, I had a friend. And he had that book in his house, and he would like pull it out sometimes. I'm like, no way, cause like, oh my God, I remember the story. So they're coming out with a movie of that, right? The adaptation movie. They're coming out with that.
Yeah, they came out with it last year. Yeah.
Oh, they did. Oh God,
it's so good. They're coming out with another too, but yeah, it was really good.
Oh my gosh. So
but yeah.
So then you guys just like always have been introduced to that kind of stuff, and then decided make a podcast.
Yeah, it stems back to our childhood pretty much. But so we actually started a paranormal investigating group back in 2009, I believe. We don't do it so much anymore just because we have like full-time jobs now, so we can't really get out into the field as much. But we've been doing it for like 10 years, going to visit different haunted locations, and I mean, just diving into all that stuff. And that's kind of where we kind of wanted the idea for the podcast, because we can't really do paranormal investigating anymore. But yeah, we had the idea last October, and we were just like spitballing it. But since COVID started, we've had a lot of free time, and we were like, dude, let's start this up. And that we started up back in like February. So, and we've been running strong since.
Yeah, man, it's a great podcast. The quality of the editing and the music and the dialogue between you and your brother, like my brother and I, we're two brothers.
Yep.
And so it's just like that dynamic is natural. But also, it's just like it comes out in your editing and like the music and the way you're interested in the history of it. It just all comes out. It's just you guys do a really good job. It's a really good podcast, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So
I'll give my brother a quick shout out because he writes all the music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he's done all that. So he's a huge asset to have for like that kind of stuff. So we don't have to like buy it or anything. So.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say like because Ernie's a huge music guy. We actually had to get our intro. We had to kind of like outsource to ask some people about it, but he does an amazing job. So let him know, man. You guys are doing some good stuff over there. So now I gotta ask this, like, so you guys had this like paranormal group, like, what was that like? What was the creepiest like? Okay, hang on, I want to know.
Slow it down.
I want to know
Slow it
everything.
down.
I'm way too excited. So it was just you and your brother doing it, or did you have a bunch of friends?
Yeah, we had a group of 6 or 7 of us back in like 2013, but we've kind of been dwindling out like a little bit just because we've all been so busy after graduating college and everything. But now, yeah, it's pretty much just me and my brother who still have an interest in it, and we still do it from time to time when we can.
So, did you guys have that equipment and stuff when you went out, or what did you do to prep, and did you find anything or hear anything cool? Like, what was like the craziest thing?
Oh man, yeah, we have like. We have a decent amount of equipment. We've been like gathering it over the years. So yeah, we have a decent amount now, but man, the creepiest thing, me personally, probably the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me. We were investigating Fort Knox up in Prospect, Maine. It was this old fort that was built to keep the during the American Revolution. It was like one of the last strongholds before they reached Canada, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So we were investigating there one night, and it was like, oh man, must have been like 1, 2 a.m. And we had a bunch of these K2 meters, which are just like lighted meters that go up when you have electromagnetic fields in the area, which ghosts are said to give off, if you want to believe that. And we had there was like 4 or 5 of us in the room. And then mine spikes to red, which is like the strongest you can get. It's above like a 25 milligauss, which is a lot of energy. And I shit you not, I felt something grab my arm and it yanked me so far forward that I had to like take 2 steps. I turned my light on and nobody was around me. It was the creepiest, dude. It was the scariest thing that's ever happened.
Oh my God.
And that was when like I became 100% true believer in the paranormal. Like I had the interest before. I didn't know if it was real. And then I was like, holy shit, that is so real. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
Were you into any of the TV shows like Taps and all that?
Taps?
Yeah, Ghost Hunters.
Oh no, it's
not-
Taps, right? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. The name of the company was that was their plumbing company. I apologize. Right.
Yeah, those 2 guys. I'm not a huge fan of them.
Kind of cheesy.
Yeah, it was kind of BS. It was kind of them walking around a house and like freaking out when somebody sneezed.
Did you hear that?
And the fact that they can make an hour show out of that, I was like, man, this is kind of boring, man.
It makes you think you could do it too. It's like, I could wander around and find nothing as well for an
Turn
hour.
all the lights on in the house. Let's do it.
Yeah, I will say though, me and my brother are absolutely diehard fans of Ghost Adventures on Travel Channel with Zach Bagans. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that show. I just like that show because I'm sure probably half of it's bullshit, but they're really entertaining to watch. So
Yeah.
I'll always tune into that.
Yeah, man. So you guys did more paranormal stuff. Was your brother the same as you? Like, did he? I guess would you know what his experience was? Like that kind of like hooked him.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. But my brother's a little different because he's very skeptical about a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really believe in religion or anything like that. But he has a really, really strong interest in just like creepy stuff because he's actually writing short story novels now. He's an author and he's got a compilation of short stories that's coming out and it's really, really good because he's a huge Stephen King fan. So, and anything really paranormal he's like super interested in or like monsters and stuff.
Yeah. So you guys are like, are you guys 10 episodes? Am I mistaken? I was just trying to count the other day.
Yeah, we released number 7 back. I think it was the beginning.
July 3rd. Yeah.
Yeah, right in the beginning of July. Yeah, but we've taken a little bit of a hiatus just because we're working on a new studio that we want to kind of get our sound quality a little bit better. And he's been busy with work recently because he started up since COVID since COVID was kind of slowing down, I guess if you want to say it. But yeah, so we're gonna revamp back up and probably start back in mid-August and try to get another probably 10, 15 episodes out.
So what are you using now as a studio then?
We literally, it's pretty much what you guys kind of have the same setup. We have 2 microphones. I actually record everything on my iPhone and then I transfer it to my Mac and that's where I do all my editing on it.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing you guys pretty much are doing right here. So.
Yeah, we were actually just using strictly an iPhone. And then we basically put it on an old planter that Jeremy's wife was going to throw away.
Just because
we put it at eye level, so that way we were talking.
It's
right at eye level.
Yeah.
Hit record on the
Absolutely.
stupid thing. And then, now we moved up to mics in the laptop and condensers and mixers and
Audio load things, laptops.
Honestly, everybody thinks like, oh yeah, podcasting, you just turn your iPhone on and talk. But man, there's so much work that goes into it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and you learn by listening too. Like I know I listened to a podcast in California, Fighter and the Kid. I don't know if you've heard of them with Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so their podcasts are amazing. They have an editor, and then recently they just started doing most of their podcasts on Zoom. And let me tell you how shitty that quality has gone. There's like a couple podcasts where I get like 10 minutes in, I'm like, I can't do this. Like I'm like, it's just annoying to listen to. So like if you have, even if your content is if your sound quality sucks, you're not getting listening for that long.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm the same way. When I listen to a podcast and there's like a ton of white noise or like just weird sounds going on, I'm like, dude, I can't even listen to this. It's not enjoyable. It's like Yeah.
And that was us too, like, because we do this out of Jared's place in the basement. We set up the whole studio
Yeah, we
down
got a
there,
whole room.
and the whole room's basically dedicated to the sound and all that. But if we couldn't get this Skype and everything to work, I don't know if the podcast could continue, right? But like, since we've got it all figured out, you know that you got quality. But with you guys too, like, it's not just the sound quality. Like, your podcast it's informative and it keeps everybody, and it's an amazingly interesting subject.
It's entertaining, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. So I gotta go back and ask. I'm sorry. I'm just way too excited about so when you guys were doing the group stuff and like paranormal activity, did you get permission or did people ask you to come and check stuff out, or like how'd that go?
Yeah, we're not like big fans of, like, I know a lot of people break into places to go check it out, but we're not for that. We will get permission. It's actually really, really hard to, because a lot of people just don't want you going into their like places or property that they own.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time we'll get permission, and like, I've been into a couple of mental asylums up in Massachusetts before that were run by the Department of Conservation, because I used to work for them, and those places are absolutely, dude, the history in it and how scary everything is, like, even if there's like still old wheelchairs and all the equipment still around and stuff, it's nuts. But yeah, that, and we have a local place like 15 minutes from where we live. It's one of the top 4 haunted places in Connecticut. It's this old, like, abandoned 1600 village that everybody like got wiped out by smallpox.
Oh,
and
Lord.
Yeah, all the foundations are still there, and like the old graveyard and stuff. And that place is, if you don't believe in ghosts, that is a place where like you could bring anybody and they would leave and they would question. They'd be like, okay, something's going on here. Something's happening.
Well, too, you could wave around, the phone, and you just kind of show them like how many followers you got on Instagram. And be like, it's not easy to get that. These aren't Russian bots.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what kind of makes it cool, is it's close to home. Like for Ernie and I haven't had like crazy experiences, but I've had like a couple weird ones. I think I mentioned it on the one podcast. So we had a podcast where there's a lady down in California, and she does thrifting, but she also sells things that are re-thrifted. But she goes to like these different stores and stuff. But she's attracted to items that she feels energy off of. So she goes to these like thrift shops and picks up these items, and then she gets a vibe off them. And then she brings them home, and then she starts interacting with maybe the past owner. And that was such an interesting. That was a pretty cool podcast to talk to her. And she actually started her own podcast after we did that.
Yeah, she did for a little bit
but,
there, yeah.
But to get back to that home kind of stuff, like, so where Ernie and I grew up, there's this old building that was built in like, what was it, 1860s?
I don't know.
So originally it was like well known in the world for its like spring qualities. But what would happen was soldiers from the First World War would come home, and it would be a place where they would take care of them, and unfortunately some of them would die. And so it's literally like sitting on the side of this hill, and it's kind of rotting away. And people keep trying to like boost it up or like redo it. But the problem is
it's too big and it's cost too much.
Things happen when they try to go into the building. There's like cold spots. One guy got pushed down the stairs. But the interesting thing is, it's such a huge building and such an interesting place. People keep breaking into it, so they had to hire somebody to be a caretaker of it. The caretaker has a blog where he like posts about. Oh yeah, I'll show it to you later.
Yeah,
he posts stories of where he sees things going on when he's like walking by. He's like, oh great, there's kids in there with flashlights. He goes in and he checks it out, and then lights are going on, and he's like, there's no power in here. And like he's had experiences where there's a man standing at the top of the stairs like staring at him, or like, and then like shaking his finger at him to say like, don't come up here or don't come in this area. And like he has a whole blog, and that's like 10 minutes away, right?
Is he in Homewood now?
I don't know where the guy is anyway, but that kind of stuff, like it kind of like, brings you into it. That's like close to home, but like that's the only thing around here that I can think of. But there is this place, I think it's like an hour away, called Black Creek,
right. Yep.
Black Creek Village.
Yep.
So there's a growing trend up in Canada where we're doing haunted tours. I don't know if that's a thing down in the States. Is that a thing? So I'll describe
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically they take you to different spots. I've been to 2 haunted tours. I took one in a city called Guelph, and I took one in Oh my gosh.
Is that up? Not Campbellford, but that brewery, right?
No. I'm talking
No?
like the oldest.
Oh, are you talking about where the fort is?
Yeah. Oh crap.
Kingston.
So Kingston is the oldest city in Canada out of like the whole country, and they say it's the most haunted place in Canada. And so Haunted Walks, Haunted Talks the podcast, but the company's called Haunted Walks. They walk you around for like an hour and a half, taking you to these different spots, and they tell you like the creepiest shit you've ever heard. Like it's just like, and it's so cool. I'm gonna just say one story from it because I don't want to blab on. So we want to talk to you, not talk to me. But so we go to this, like, they're walking around. We're about an hour in. Everybody's spooked out. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's having a good time. We go to this one building, and it's like this really old, probably built in the mid 1800s. Like, it's an old building. Like, it's the oldest city in Canada, so there's old ass buildings there. We go to this building, and the lady walks around in like a black cloak and like on a lantern. It's like, it's all cool. It's a really cool experience. But we walk up to this building. She goes, "This is the most haunted building in Kingston." And she starts talking about how there's like weird things that happen. There's young boys that run around in the basement and like scare you. And then there's like the story of this old lady who lives in the top floor. And the lady in the top floor is known to like steal jewelry, and people like complain that because like someone's broken in and steal their jewelry, and so they put like, new locks in the door. So she's explaining this scary story, but she also is telling people, don't try not to make too much noise and try not to talk to people because this place is still rented out as a hotel still to this day. So we're standing out there. It's 11:30 at night, and so she's talking, and this couple walks by us and gives us like, what are you guys doing? Like, and then realizes what's going on. This is a haunted walk.
Yeah,
and we're talking about this building, and they walk up in there, and I'm like trying not to say anything. I'm just like, that place is haunted.
They were staying there?
Yeah, and they were staying there, and then walking up, and they're just like, oh my god, and it was just like, and she's like, try not to, don't say anything because we don't want them to get scared away, and we don't want but it kind of adds to it though. But that was the funniest, but coolest thing that it was like when we were in Kingston. It was just like that kind of thing, just kind of that home kind of town stuff, and kind of brings it in. That's what interests me, but.
Absolutely. I bet you that couple got like no sleep that night. They were probably like,
they're
what
like,
the hell?
we would like to early check out now, please.
I would have gone. I would have checked out. But that's why the tour guide was like, we try not to go during the time to scare people, but like it's haunted, man. Like it's a haunted place. So
that's awesome.
So growing up, what would you say was like your favorite scary story?
Oh man. So like book by an author, it's probably Stephen King's It. Mm-hmm. Absolutely obsessed with that movie. Obsessed with the book. Obsessed with the new movies. And I'm like terrified of clowns. So just the fact that like Stephen King came up with this whole premise of a clown that turns into your worst fears and like eats children absolutely terrified me ever since. Like,
oh my god, I've never watched it. Don't even know any of the premise of it.
Yeah, I have no desire to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, it's crazy. Highly recommend it to any of your listeners if they like horror. Check out Stephen King's It, the movie and the books. They will not be disappointed.
All right.
But as for like, man, true legends around us that were like, I guess just told when like I was growing up. There's this place like probably 25 minutes south of me called Dudleytown, Connecticut, and it has like people call it like the Bermuda Triangle of Connecticut because like it was just that place that everybody in middle school and high school would talk about, where people would go missing, or I mean, demonic worship was a big thing there. People would find like satanic rituals going on, and people in like black cloaks and animals killed. That was kind of like the big legend growing up around here, and something I remember like everybody talking about. I've never been. I will like to venture there sometime if I have the courage to do it, but that's probably my favorite one from around here, honestly. That or I don't know if you guys have heard of The Conjuring, the movie The Conjuring. Yeah. That happened like 15 minutes into Rhode Island from where I am. So that's that's bananas.
Is The Conjuring? I just want to get this right. Is that based off of the Amityville horror house, or is it something different?
Amityville's down in New York, but The Conjuring, Ed and Lorraine Warren, the two renowned ghost hunters, the two big ones, they both did investigations at both of those places. But the Conjuring, it's at the Harrisville farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, and this was a place where a family moved in, and they it's all documented, true case files from the Warrens, where they claim this witch sacrificed a young child, a young baby, to give it to Satan because he needed power. And then this family moved into the house, and I mean, they had the craziest shit happen to them. The daughters would get pulled out of bed.
Oh my God.
They would go to sleep in one part of the house. They would wake up in the basement.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the mom had a full blown possession, and they had to call in priests to come and exorcise it and stuff. It's crazy.
I think that's one of the scariest things. It's like when we were, what was it? I think I was watching Paranormal Activities. That scene, the first thing, when she's standing there for 4 hours watching him sleep. That's
horrifying. It's so scary.
That's the creepiest shit I've ever seen. The second thing, when she gets pulled out of bed and dragged down the hall, I felt like cold. I'm like, okay, what the hell? I can't watch this. That was the two, and so that idea of you're sleeping and all of a sudden you feel this thing grab you by the ankle and start pulling you out of bed. It's like, geez Louise. Oh my God.
Yep, and I honestly always thought that was every time I'd watch a movie, I'm like, that is such bullshit. No way that can happen in true life, until that thing happened to me at Fort Knox, and I was like, holy shit, this could actually probably happen to somebody if the spirit was powerful enough to actually physically grab you. And I was like, they could probably yank you straight out of your bed if you wanted to. If it had the ability to yank me forward a foot or two, I was like, oh my God.
I wonder almost, do you think there's that parallel when you're looking at ghost stories, is is it angry or is it trying to tell you something?
Right, yeah. You can I guess that's a personal preference. If you don't want to get too scared, I'd be like, maybe it's just trying to tell me something.
Yeah. He's like, come here, buddy. Come look at this thing I used to hang out on, or something.
Yeah,
hey,
right?
pal.
If it's a place where there was
I want to go for a walk.
a tragic death or something, or a murder, if you looked into that, I could be like, okay, maybe this spirit is angry as hell, and I don't know, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Have you done much research into that? That's always a question I ask. Is why do you think places are haunted?
Yeah, that's honestly a story probably topic me and my brother talk about all the time. Why do you actually think places are haunted? And personally, I've always been very interested in parapsychology, and that's just the study of psychics and paranormal phenomenon. So me and him have dived pretty deep into it, and honestly, I think it's probably, if you have a place where something tragic happened, or a huge amount of energy was released in a certain area, like a murder or a suicide, or if you really dark stuff like raping and stuff like that, where it's these tragic moments in time, I feel like that energy can be so powerful, especially if somebody dies, that it kind of encases that energy and can create a spirit or a physical or entity that could reside there. And if they're there the whole time, I don't know. Can they travel back and forth through the veil when they want to and come back to where they died? Maybe. But, nobody's ever going to know that. So it's just, it's all guessing pretty much at this point.
Yeah, because, you hear stories about certain places where people are living with a ghost and they're not sure what's going on, or if it's a young girl or what it is, or if there's multiple entities, and then they bring in a psychic or something to kind of speak a little bit of truth into it. And it's always interesting to hear they're well, that's actually a little girl and there's an older man. But then they say, but that could be the fortune teller, whatever they call them, could be being tricked by a demon to say, oh, this is just a little girl. Don't worry about it. I'm just a little girl. I'm not going to, there was a story that I was just hearing, and again, I'm not going to talk anymore. I feel like I'm going to tell my stories. But basically that's what happened, is they were tricked into thinking it was a little girl. And so this person came in and smudged the house, and the guy was the lady was like, okay, we're going to bring a ball of light into this room, and we're going to basically make the ghost or the spirit go away. And they took two of them away, and they said, do you want the little girl to go? And the man was there with his wife, and the man's like, you know what? She's fine. She can stay. She's just a little girl. and then it got worse. They let the little girl stay, and it ended up being like some crazy. They moved out. Like it's just like yeah, and then the lady's like, okay, I won't bring her into the ball of light, and then it's just like okay, it's just like some crazy stuff just went on. I recommend you listening to Haunted Talks podcast. The guy they do a really good job, and there's some really cool Canadian stories. Like it's just interesting to hear like the ghosts can cross the borders. Like,
do they talk with accents as well and drink coffee and play hockey?
Yeah, that's the ghost.
Do they?
Yeah. As we're sitting here drinking coffee, the most Canadian coffee ever.
I love it.
But so you would feel that it's just more like some crazy stuff has to happen for that energy to stay, and then it's like unresolved energy kind of.
Yeah, I think so. And I think if you're happy enough with your life, then I'm not a big Catholic believer, but I believe that there's something in the afterlife. So I think if you're happy with your life and you can move on, there's no reason to come back to, and hang out in some old house and be alone and just walk through walls or whatever. So that's why I feel like most spirits will just move on and go to this afterlife where maybe it's better, maybe it's another life that you go into. I don't know. But if it's tragic and you're kind of trapped, having to deal with those emotions that you never truly got over, and if your life ended super suddenly, I would be pissed off, and I'd be like, okay, maybe I'll be trapped here, and maybe I'll try to resolve it if I can.
They have like an inability to move on, and they have like stuff that they want to resolve, kind of thing, before they move on, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And maybe they have no idea what time is at that point. They're just existing.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe
kind of
still
like Beetlejuice.
Exactly like Beetlejuice, yeah.
What? The Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
You know what time was?
We didn't really know that it was still then.
Yeah, it was like always nighttime out in the house.
What the fuck? So
don't say it 3 times.
Oh yeah. So in all your like going out and like checking places out, you said that that fort was probably like the scariest one. But which one like would you say was like really interesting and you were like you learned a lot from?
Oh man,
that you've done or haven't done yet. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Haven't done yet, man. I want to visit the Amityville house so freaking bad. The one in Long Island. I want to visit that place more than anything.
I'll go there at lunchtime and I'm punching holes in the walls to let daylight in.
And then that green goo shit is gonna come out of the walls on you.
Yep.
Well, that's a thing, right?
Yeah, I guess it is. Like that's crazy to me that this family had like green ooze pouring out of like behind picture frames.
My daughter plays with slime.
So fun fact, I learned more about the Amityville horror from your podcast than I've read about anywhere else.
Really?
Yeah. So that was a podcast. I was like, wow, I learned so much. So the idea of actually, you tell the story about it. So people don't know about it. About the kid who like killed his family or whatever.
Yeah. So Amityville, it happened back in the 1900s, where this family bought this house in Amityville, New York, right on Long Island. It's like right on the coast of Long Island Sound on the Atlantic Ocean. And their oldest, it was a family of, I think it was 7 or 8, but their oldest son, Ronald DeFeo Jr., his nickname was Butch. And one night he came home from work and like the entire family was having a normal night. They had dinner. Everybody went to bed. And then this guy goes to the family gun cabinet and pulls out a 22 caliber Marlin rifle and goes around the entire house and wipes his family like off the map. His little sisters, his little brother, it was children as young as 9 years old. They killed his parents, and then this was one of the first court cases where paranormal claims came in because he testified that he heard voices that made him do it in the house. He was found guilty on the charges, but it's one of the hottest topics to debate in paranormal history. Was this guy just like high on PCP and drugs because he was known to do drugs a lot, or was there a demonic entity in the house that took over his body and made him kill his entire family?
But even you guys said too in the podcast, like, how did not one of those people wake up during it?
I have no clue, and all the bodies were in the same position.
Right.
And the law enforcement that came to the house, they said that there was no way that DeFeo moved the bodies after he killed them. And how does it, like, if I can hear a gunshot like go off outside, like miles away. I'm like, holy shit! And you're putting a rifle off in the house and nobody's waking up. That's so strange to me.
Oh my god! It's almost like they were all like in like a ketosis or something.
Yeah, right.
Do we know if there was any history before those events in that house?
No. Before the Feos
murder.
moved in, I think it was just a regular house, and everybody was. I mean, who knows what the land was used for early on?
Yeah.
It could have been like Native American rituals, if you want to believe that. Or maybe there was like some black mass performed there because it's close to the water, and I know that's like a big thing. That like water can stir energy up really quickly. But yeah, who knows what went on at the property before the house was built.
Sorry, you said black mass. What's a black mass?
It's just a satanic cult worshiping where like a group of people, if they believe in Satanism, they get together and they practice their faith.
It's like a gaggle of geese, a massive
What? A murder of crows?
a murder of crows.
A murder of crows, yes, absolutely.
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
almost like a church like ceremony, but for Satan.
Yep, more or less, pretty much.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's kind of stupid of me to ask. Black mass. We're not Catholic, so I don't know.
Oh,
No,
black
yeah.
mass, I get it now.
Yeah, see, I didn't
There it
get that
is.
either. I just put that together too. We're
Yeah,
dumb.
all this
You know what part of it makes me wonder though, when I heard that, and then just recently I was listening to Rogan, and he was talking about some I know I'm drifting away from ghosts, but he was talking about those aliens. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah.
And do you remember when he talked about the those animals that were skinned alive, but were laying in the same position?
It was the small cows. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were kind of he figured like maybe if they came down and their energy kind of put that animal in ketosis and just kind of like skinned it alive just standing there, makes you wonder if they were the ones talking to that kid trying to see maybe they were working on brain
You think it was
manipulation.
aliens?
I'm kind of leaning towards that for a
You know
lot
what?
of this
I don't
stuff.
think aliens are telling people to shoot people with shotguns. I'm pretty sure.
They use what they got. They're not going to
No,
give
no,
them a
no,
death
no,
ray
no,
because
no,
death
no.
rays don't exist.
Let's not. Hang on. Well, let's stay on this topic for a bit. If you want to get into aliens, hang on.
I love topics of aliens. Those are the best.
So, like, what is your take on like? So, do you know a lot about like those kinds of like rituals and satanic stuff? Are you into that kind of stuff? Like, do you stay away from that kind of thing? Like,
Yeah, no, I'm not really big into Satanism or occult worship. I think that's so far out there, and I think most of those people are more fucked up in the head than they care to realize. I am a huge believer though in curses, and as in using Ouija boards and haunted objects that could be possessed by a demon or Satan. And I think those things, if you mess with them the wrong way, especially Ouija boards, it can cause like bad things to happen in your life. And I'm not just talking like, oh, I'm going to die tomorrow kind of bad things, but I think it can cause you to have like really bad breakups, divorces, like bad luck in terms of getting finances together, paying off debt. I mean, car accidents, stuff like that. I think that has the ability to do those kind of things if you mess with them the wrong way. So I try to stay away from those. And I caution anybody who kind of does that kind of thing to just be super smart about it, and because it has the ability to cause harm in ways you don't expect.
I like to give everything a chance before I look into it, and then like I ask a million questions. So my only thing with a Ouija board is, can you use a Ouija board by yourself?
You can, yeah.
Can you really?
I don't recommend it because that has the ability just to, if you mess with it the wrong way, you're the only person or the only physical energy in the room for if something negative comes through, for it to latch onto you, kind of deal.
have you ever played around with one?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it makes you wonder though, because you're doing usually 9 times out of 10 you're seeing like 3 kids standing above it with their hands on it at the same time, right? So even if one person is not, if two people aren't doing anything and one person is not taking it serious and they're the ones moving it around, that one person is controlling everyone else's fate. So when you're using it on your own, you're sitting there and you're controlling it with your own fate, kind of thing, right? So it makes me think, if you're strong-willed enough to say, okay, I believe in what I believe, but let's just see what happens here. Even if you tell somebody that it came up like that, it's like, well, you were doing it by yourself. You could have just done that to yourself, right? Like, it almost makes you wonder if maybe your mental capacity kind of goes, you want to move it that way. And you know how like when you're sitting, like even when you're driving sometimes, like there's times when I'm driving home and I'm just kind of like, all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, I'm home.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? So you're kind of out of your head, and it makes you
autopilot
think,
kind of thing.
right. So it makes you think like maybe when I wondered about that, like when you're doing it as just yourself, if maybe you're just kind of it's almost not. I'm not calling it meditation, but you're sitting back and just kind of saying, okay, I'm gonna let this take the wheel, kind of thing, and see what happens. And maybe incoherently you're kind of moving it the way you want to do it. Because again, me personally, I don't believe in it, but I always give it that chance of maybe it is.
You're gonna give it a chance.
I just don't have enough energy. No. That other people
Okay.
believe that it is,
Right.
And I give you the recognition that okay, you're allowed to believe whatever you want, right? But
so, what was your experience with the Ouija board? I gotta ask.
I didn't really experience anything with it. I'm not 100% believer in them. I know they're just made as toys for kids. Really weird toy. But I do say if you do one with somebody, with like another person, with the way you're supposed to actually do it.
What are the rules? I don't even know what the rules are.
Yeah, it's supposed to be you and one other person, and you have the actual Ouija board itself with all the lettering on it. It says yes, no, goodbye on the bottom, and then you have a little piece called a planchette, and that's the little wooden piece or plastic piece you put on top. And then it's you and one other person. You put your hands on it, and the theory is, or what's supposed to happen, the spirit comes through like your body, and it moves the planchette around. Like if you just put your fingertips on it super lightly, and it says the spirit's supposed to come through and it can talk to you, I guess. So if you're doing it with another person, it's so hard because like if it starts to move, it could have just been that other person trying to play a prank on you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it has to be somebody that you trust to like not kind of fuck with you. Like 100% you have to trust them. There's like nobody on the planet. Maybe like I would do it with my brother because I know he's just as like much interested in it as me. But like another person, if it started to move, I would be like...
I'd probably hold it down and make sure it didn't move.
Yeah, right?
Like, I don't want to know.
I don't want to know what your name is. Don't tell me. Goodbye.
I'm gonna do the same thing when I'm losing at Monopoly. I'm flipping that bitch over.
Yeah. We're done, motherfucker.
Yeah. Put a hotel on that.
You bitch. Yeah. So when you've been involved, when you've been involved with going out and stuff, have you brought any of like fortune, like what's another word for fortune teller? I feel like I'm saying the wrong thing.
Gypsy?
No. Like a psychic?
Yeah.
Psychic?
So have you ever had any interactions with psychics to kind of like either help out or get more information from about things?
Man.
Miss Chloe, come in for a free reading.
I think that's a little bit different. I think Miss Chloe's is like
she don't love you, girl. You want your body of money.
But no, psychic mediums, I haven't really dealt with any. I get my tarot cards done like a lot in Salem every year during Halloween because I like to travel to Salem.
Oh, that's cool.
But other than that, I haven't really had that much experience with psychic mediums. I am not a big believer in them. I think it's a con just to get money.
Oh yeah.
From most of them, unless like you're super spiritually active, like Lorraine Warren. I think she had a gift where she could like connect with the dead. But I feel like that's like one in like 250 million people. So, and then you can just drive down the road and it's like, oh, psychic mediums for hire or
psychic medium will rub your back for $20.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
just a con to get money.
Yeah, it's like chiropractors. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll switch.
They do a thing called like, I don't know if you've heard of it. They do a thing called shotgunning, right? You've heard of that?
What?
When they go into the audience, like when they have those guys that do like the California medium or whatever it is.
Yeah, but everybody
she
has
goes
a
like,
mom.
I'm hearing someone talk to me, and the letter starts. It sounds like Brett, and then nobody answers. I'm like, hey, shit, no Brett. Starts with a B. Starts with a B. The name starts with a B. So you start small, and then you work out bigger, right? And then again. Somebody died in here. There's nobody named Brett. Shit.
Did anybody die in here?
With a vowel. Anybody with a vowel that just died. Nobody died in this room.
But the problem...
Shit. Anybody still have a pulse in here?
The problem with those things is that they're playing off of people's emotions. And people want to hear something.
Yeah.
They don't go in and go, no, this is bullshit. Like, they want to go in and want to hear something. So they go, what? Oh, that's my dad. My dad was named Brett. He's still alive, though. Is he going to die tomorrow? Like, you know what I mean? Like...
Is anybody here having financial issues? Nobody.
No, everybody's good.
No, exactly. It's a con for money in my opinion.
Right.
It kind of hurts people more than it helps them sometimes. So I'm not a huge believer in it. I don't really condone anybody going to see a psychic. I don't know. I think there's a better way to spend your time.
It's interesting how I feel like the Warrens, would you agree? The Warrens got popular when they kind of got older. Like they weren't as popular during their time of their like heyday. Would you agree?
Yep, I totally agree. And it's weird because I don't hear like I haven't heard any stories from when they were like in their 30s or 40s. It's always when they're like 60 or 70 when they got the most publicity. And that was
the who?
The Warrens.
You don't know who the Warrens are? Oh, do you want to tell them?
Oh yeah, they're just they're like two of the most renowned ghost hunters of all time. They went and investigated the Amityville haunting, the Conjuring. They're the ones who own the Annabelle doll. I don't know if you heard about
The
her.
actual Annabelle
Oh,
doll.
jeez.
Did you not listen
Yep.
to that podcast on it?
I did.
Oh, my
I don't
God.
remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they own them, and they're like renowned for their psychic abilities and I mean just investigating the paranormal.
Yeah, that doll one gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh my God.
I was glad
Yeah,
I was glad I was working a day shift when I was listening to that one.
I used to live right down the street from her, the actual doll. And I didn't even fucking know until I left that section of Connecticut.
I'd
I was
have
like,
left every light in my house on. I would have had a ridiculous electricity bill.
So,
Yep.
but so the place where they have all the objects, where is that again?
It's in Monroe, Connecticut. So it's on the it's really close to the New York border. It's one of the last towns in Connecticut heading west towards New York.
And it still exists to the day?
Yep.
She's
It's
still alive, or they're both passed?
No, they've both passed, and it's I believe it's Ed's stepson who runs it now, but he's getting a ton of criticism. I know Zach Bagans just called him out the other day because he brought the animal doll to Las Vegas for them to investigate.
No.
And there's this huge claim where he was just trying to use the doll to bring negative energy to Zach and his crew, and I mean it's just a bunch of like bullshit. And he shouldn't have the ability to run that museum, in my opinion, because he has no background, he has no knowledge in it. So I'm not a huge fan.
I thought that the doll couldn't be taken out of its box. I thought you guys said that.
It's not supposed to. And he just did it. He stuffed it in like a briefcase and took it on a plane.
He just lost a lot of money on authenticity. You're not supposed to open the box.
Yeah, right, man. The dollars.
Fucking idiot. Yeah, but like, didn't a priest put like a cross above it or something? You guys were saying like,
Yeah, and they used to have somebody come and bless it like a couple times a year to make sure that like no negative energy came out.
oh my God.
It's like the ultimate superhero in like its pristine packaging.
Yes,
Dude,
Superman.
Why the-
You're not supposed to do that, Superman.
Why the hell did he take it thinking like, oh, this is a good idea, I'm gonna take? Maybe he doesn't believe in it. He's just trying to make money. You think?
Yeah, I know. Zach Bagans gave him a shit ton of money to bring it to him.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And he's got some really cool haunted objects. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Dybbuk box.
No.
It's the most haunted object in history.
I've heard. I think were you guys talking about that?
No, I've never talked about it. We want to do an episode on it, but it was like this big thing where who the fuck did he invite to the museum? Post Malone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he invited Post Malone to the museum to investigate it with him. And I know Post says from
That's
like
where I heard it. Yeah.
that experience, he thinks that a section of his life is cursed because he was so close to it. And it's just it's an object that's supposed to hold. I think there's 7 of them in existence, and they've only found 5. They're like artifacts that are said to encase this like ancient demon that if you bring them all together, it's supposed to release darkness onto the world. I suppose it's pretty. It's
Oh.
far out there. It's super far out there.
That sounds like a what's that movie? The Mummy. That
Yep.
sounds like,
Well, I
that
think
sounds
that's-
like Nicolas
I
Cage
think
movie.
Post was talking about that on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, see, I only got so far into that because he was
They
way
were
too
both
high
high.
on mushrooms.
They were both
Oh my
hardcore.
They talk
God.
about it because I listened to that one because I was super interested. And he was complaining like he thinks a lot of shit's going wrong in his life because he was so close to it, and
Man.
it's nuts.
So yeah, based on that off the Warren stuff.
Hang on. Were there other like ridiculously haunted items?
Oh yeah.
In the Warren's Cult Museum,
Yeah.
yeah, it was filled, man. There's like stuff from like modern day vampires. You all right?
Fucking joke.
Jeremy, this he lived a long life.
Sorry.
It's Annabelle.
Yep. It's like either Annabelle or the Rona.
Jesus. Ugh. Fuck. Sorry, guys.
You got some on your face.
Sorry. Ugh.
So he lived a long life. He had a hairy back.
Oh man.
We did a podcast where the guy was about ghosts and he died.
Yeah, I died.
Dude, how we get so much hate mail?
Yeah.
Frick.
This is the 51st podcast and the last podcast.
Shit. Sorry.
Sorry. So other things that were
objects.
haunted in there. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff like modern day vampires and
Water.
Yeah.
you're good. I can wait.
Yeah, thanks for sitting down with us, man. This was I was excited to do this one.
Nice, yeah, dude. I was listening to you guys. Was it yesterday at work? Yeah, and I love the way you guys like said. It's kind of like us, where you guys just kind of like chit chat, and it's sick that you guys bring on like just normal people, like the one that you guys did with the guy who runs the brewery.
Yeah.
Like it's such just like a fun kind of like pick me up in the middle of the day. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just want to look at something, low key and
That one went so well. We picked up a sponsor from it.
Frick.
really
Yeah. So they sponsor the podcast now.
Frick.
nice. Good for you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
I think the demon has passed.
The demon has passed. The demon known
I don't know
as
what happened there.
Tim of Hortons.
All of a sudden, I couldn't breathe. I was like coughing on my coffee.
Okay. So the other objects, like what were some of the other objects that were in that in Pandora's box there?
Yeah. So like the Warrens were just known to collect just weird and strange like haunted items. Some of like the coolest ones that they have like a modern vampire coffin where this guy went crazy and he was said to like bleed his victims and drink their blood. Trying to figure that stuff out, though, it could all just be folklore and it could be made up. They had that. They have like these, they're called like the pearls of death. It's a necklace that you put on and it says that it starts to choke you.
Good
And
lord.
you can't really take it off. It's just like, it's a bunch of just weird stuff. Haunted wedding dresses, haunted mirrors where you can see people who have passed on from your life who are important.
Oh my god.
Those that play themselves. It's just like, it's the craziest stuff.
So
upset.
these are items that the Warrens found and deemed not safe.
Yep, they didn't want to. They thought it was a better idea to bring them all together and be under one roof than having them like all out in the universe and could cause like harm to people. And they thought that if they bring them to a specific place where they can kind of encase it and get them blessed every now and then, that it would be better for the owners of the objects or just people in general not to have these items.
When I think that they're storing them, like I think of the building something like, do you remember that movie 13th Ghost, where they had those glass cases?
Yeah.
When I think of people storing that stuff, I always think of that movie where it's like it's in behind where it can contain it, stuff like that. Did they ever show like the inventory that they had? Like, did they ever do like a little documentary of like all the stuff?
Well, they let
had?
people go there, right?
Yeah, you could pay money just to walk in. It was like $5 or $6 to go in and just check it out.
Oh, fuck that.
What,
Yeah,
so
I never
you're
went.
saying you can't still?
Yep. Since they've passed, they don't. His stepson doesn't know what he wants to do with it, and I know they shut down like right when Lorraine passed last April or last spring sometime. So when she passed away, they shut it down. They weren't letting anybody come back in, which is, I don't know, kind of a shame. Hopefully they open it back up, but I wouldn't, like me and my brother were talking about it during the Animal podcast. I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Bagans, because he has a huge haunted museum in Las Vegas. And I wouldn't be surprised if he came over and tried to take everything and bring it to his place.
You could do like, even now during COVID, like you could do like a glass house and then have people walk around the outside of it.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be cool. Or like a Facebook Live walkthrough or something.
We should do that on your front lawn, Jer. I'm gonna find some shit that I got from the girls that they don't play with anymore. We'll put it in a glass case and be like, the haunted slime.
I don't want to bring any weird shit to my house. What are you thinking?
Peppa Pig's gone bad.
Yeah, but this is stuff that's legit.
$45 a
No,
head.
but I'm saying though, you
This
put
is
it out
legit.
front and be like, the chicken that wouldn't boil.
My thing is that like Homeboy took the Annabelle doll, was like, oh, this is fine. I'm just gonna like how did he not know what it was? Like he's probably like, okay, I get this amount of money. I gotta bring this stupid doll. Let's put them together. Like
He probably didn't believe in it.
Honestly, I don't think he did. I think he just wanted to make a quick buck.
Right.
Like, I guarantee it.
Has that episode been released where he did the cross examination of Annabelle?
Yeah, it's on Ghost. I think it was a couple months ago on Ghost Adventures, where he brought it there, and they had some weird stuff happen. And this guy just, it was. I think it was like last week where this whole like thing went on where he was bitching and complaining
I'll have to
about.
look that up.
Did he say anything? Like he's like, I had mommy and daddy issues, and they never let me open this thing. And as soon as they died, I ran down there and ripped it open.
I'm guessing maybe that's what he did. I don't
never
know. The
let
guy's
me-
like, he's like 35, 40 years old though, and he just probably doesn't believe, and he just wanted the money, which is
35, 40 years old, in the basement, drinking Red Bull, playing World of Warcraft. You never know.
Well,
exactly.
If you don't want to, he's on the, he's trying to make money off of his parents. So
Yeah,
makes
but if he
sense.
didn't care about their legacy, right? Like,
Well, obviously
if-
he doesn't care if he's dragging things. They're
he'd
like,
just
okay,
rather
this has to
make
be in
money.
a glass case for a reason, you weirdo.
Yep.
But he doesn't obviously believe in it, because if he did, you wouldn't touch that
Yep.
thing.
I know.
I would not. No way.
So you guys have all done podcasts and stuff around like witches and stuff and that kind of idea. Have you, like, I know Salem's pretty close to you, like an hour away, you were saying. So how cool, and is there a feeling in Salem still to this day about that kind of stuff, or is that like, have you had...
It's Salem's really cool. It's gotten a little worse with, like, I mean,
tourism,
drugs and tourism and
Oh.
stuff now. But the older section of Salem with like the cobblestone streets and the one that's right next to the harbor, where all the witches are buried. That section of Salem is absolutely amazing, and it's really hard to go in October just because literally everybody from like Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut goes there for the entire month of October. But so like the history of that place it's like it's palpable. You can feel it, and all the stuff that like went on for these unfortunate women who were sentenced to death for being wrongly accused. In my opinion, it's crazy, and the fact that so many people are interested in it still, it speaks volumes how much like history transcends time and how much people enjoy folklore and spooky stories and those kind of things.
Like the history of it is these women were like pretending, and then they got it kind of like, they're like, it got kind of out of hand, and then because it was like the Pilgrims, right? Like or the sorry, what's the name of the religion at that time? Quakers, the Quakers, right? Was it Quakers?
They weren't Quakers. They were like normal people who were settling in Salem. It was early America, but it was like more or less people didn't like what these women were doing because most of them are like strong, independent women, and that wasn't like, people didn't like that at the time. I don't know why. That's kind of hot in my opinion. That's just me.
Yeah.
But it was like these women, they were either practicing different type of religions, or people didn't like the way that they were acting. So I forget if it was the mayor or one of the head officials in Salem. He sentenced a couple of them to death to be hanged by the neck until they died, and it was super unfortunate. And people said that they were practicing witchcraft because that was what people weren't used to the religion they were practicing, and they didn't like the way that they were carrying themselves. So they said they weren't like normal humans. And you can dive so deep in that history. We think we're going to do that episode for like our big Halloween episode, just because it's super interesting and you can learn so much from it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that one that looked like Bette Midler turned that poor kid to a cat, right? So you don't blame him.
Oh, what was that again?
Hocus
And that
Pocus.
took place in Salem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Great movie.
Yeah, poor cat.
Yeah, I like that cat.
And the zombie.
Yeah, that cool zombie guy, man.
Yeah, he was
So,
a nice guy.
moving forward with the podcast, you guys, like, how often do you do it? How often are you guys putting out episodes? Like, how long? Like, what's the production like for you guys on your end?
We started out doing like one a week. But that was we had a lot more free time because we were under quarantine and we weren't really back to work then. Now we want to take like a little bit of time off just to work on different topics and get more in depth with our research, because we do believe we're a little dry in some areas and we want to kind of tighten it up a little bit and just work on our production value. So we're probably going to go to release an episode every 2 weeks. That'll give me enough time to edit and have enough time for us to do research. So the way we do it is 1 week, like Tyler will do an episode and he'll do all the research and I'll go in blind to learn about it.
Sweet.
And I think that gives us really good back and forth. I'll do the research and he'll come into it blind. So we'll probably try to do every 2 weeks, release a new episode, and we're really going to pick up September, October, November during the Halloween season. October we'll probably do one a week and just get all the really, really creepy, interesting topics that we want to get done. So
any spoiler alerts that you want to like drop a little hint where you're like, what you got, like what's like the coolest one coming out that you are more excited about?
The one that I'm most excited about is going to be our episode on La Llorona.
I don't even know what that is, so don't tell me because I want to listen to it.
Okay, yeah, it's my favorite urban legend of all time. It scares the absolute hell out of me.
Say it again. What is it called?
The Curse of La Llorona. She's called the Weeping Woman in Mexico.
Oh yeah, the one with the stat. Yeah. No, I don't want to say it.
I want to hear that. Oh my god.
Yeah, that is weird.
We're gonna do that, and we're gonna do in October we're gonna do an episode on the Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow.
Oh yeah.
And then we're gonna do.
Was that an
we're
actual?
probably gonna-
Was that an actual story? I thought it was just a fiction.
It is fiction, yeah, but
Okay,
it's like
okay.
it's our favorite one of all time. So
Okay.
we're gonna just no, it's an actual
I
headless
was like, what the?
riding around New York.
So
Yeah.
that was going to be one of my questions. Was do you guys like have you considered doing the ones that were kind of like folklore, or do you just try and stick to? Because I know you said that you guys weren't really interested in doing the true crimes ones. Like there was that Black Mass one you're not interested in. Is that like obviously the ones that aren't like that are folklore are fine for you? Are there ones that you just kind of steer completely clear of, other than like the true crime ones and that?
No, not really. We're kind of open to everything, kind of. Even if it's just like a spooky story from like a local town or something that has no merit or no like facts behind it. If it's creepy enough, we'll talk about it because I think it brings some interest to the viewers and it can kind of like paint a cool picture in their head about something they never learned about.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not really just like the true crime aspect. I feel like everybody beats that to death, as well as aliens, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
we'll probably do an episode on aliens at some point too, just because it's super interesting.
So when you do the alien ones, I think you need 2 bearded Canadian guests.
Well, I don't know much about aliens.
Oh, I know aliens.
I'm gonna have to
Hell
do
yeah.
some research. All I know is that the Pentagon just released was 2 weeks ago that they're like, okay, we got some stuff. We're gonna start releasing it.
Yep.
I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. 2 weeks ago at work, weird shit happened to me where I saw something floating in the sky for 45 minutes, and a bunch of our trucks at work, hydraulic failures, electrical failures, and then when this thing left and I couldn't see it anymore, everything started back up.
No way.
I have a video of it. It's just like, it's super small, but it's this little tiny speck in the sky that's shining. It has like luster to it. And I checked all databases for satellites and there was nothing, no planes, no anything around
Yeah, but
us.
things don't stop though. You said it stopped in the sky.
Dude, it stopped in the same spot. And I was like, if this is a satellite, this thing would be booking it. So
Right, and,
it was-
blinking.
Exactly. Yeah, and this was in the middle of the day. Like I'm talking at like 11 o'clock in the afternoon. No clouds in the sky. It was so weird.
What?
I think
Yeah,
there's aliens.
Man, things. I think there's aliens too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think there's something going on, and we're about to get like people were joking around. July's the month of aliens. That
Yeah.
was the next thing. Like
Yep.
we got after
Yeah.
the Corona thing.
Because we got the killer bees.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Right.
giant episode of,
Yeah, but then they just kind of phased out because everybody's like, get out of here, and they're like, yeah, we're kidding.
Well, it's
They're just
because
big
like
bees.
because the other bees figured out how to kill them or something.
yeah,
or,
yeah, yeah.
like,
They just flap really. They disintegrate them by flapping.
yeah,
really
by
fast.
flapping really fast. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
Man, and so did you watch that that documentary where Bob Lazard was talking to Joe Rogan, and did you
The
watch
pill?
that? Doc?
Is that the pill one? Oh no, that's the
So that it
That's
kind
the
of
other
all
one.
started with that guy that worked for Area 51.
right.
And he was basically deconstructing like the technology.
Is that Netflix?
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah.
Did you watch that documentary?
No, I've not seen it. But
Bob
I'm
Lazar.
Yeah, Bob
Yeah,
Lazard.
yeah.
It was apparently it was pretty good. I haven't watched the whole thing. I watched a little bit.
Is it like true facts that he has?
Yes.
Or-
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, you need to watch it.
Like he was a
Seriously.
certified employee. Like he had credentials and all that. And then actually Rogan had a couple of people that on that were just like they 100% know that he was.
Bob
working there.
came on the podcast.
Oh, I know he did, but
Yeah.
I'm saying other people came on to reiterate
that was
he
a
was
podcast 2 weeks ago. Those two guys came on and talked about it.
yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, dude. I'll absolutely check that out.
And
Fascinating.
when you told me about that phenomenon at work, that made me remind me of the one that they were talking about there. I can't remember. It was that pilot, remember? And he had it recorded that it was that little. He
was
called it the little
tracking it.
pill.
Yeah, he was
said.
tracking
Remember,
it.
he was tracking that little
That's
pill.
that's the Pentagon video that was just released about a month ago.
Oh, was it?
That's what he was talking
And
about.
he said like it just kind of all of a sudden it was moving at lightning speed and then stopped dead, hovered, and without any projection or propulsion or anything. It's like it's almost like energy. It just kind of shot up and then was in another location like within seconds beyond any technology that we have now.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Like they don't have ways to like push off anything like a helicopter does, and they can like shoot up into the upper atmosphere within like seconds.
Right.
It's so
Right.
It's so strange.
So they use energy. Like they're not using gravity. They're not using any fuel or anything like that. They're using the Earth's gravity and magnets to move around quickly and things like that. And they're also possessing people to shoot themselves.
Have you guys ever watched Ancient Aliens? You ever watch that show?
No, I've not. I've heard of it though. Isn't that like
So,
on History Channel?
It's on
Sci-Fi?
Netflix now.
Okay.
So all the episodes are on there. Last night I got home from work. I poured a whiskey. I sat and watched Ancient Aliens for like 3 hours, just like vegging out.
Dude,
It's
sounds
just
my
like
kind of night.
And it's like, I don't know, but it doesn't make sense to me how the way that they engineered like pyramids and the way they had the technology to do what they did hundreds of like tens of thousands of years ago, like just like, oh, we're just gonna figure this out without some help. Doesn't make sense to me. Like they had help.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. But so if that was happening, that kind of technology was happening 20,000, 30,000 years ago, like 10,000 BC or whatever, what kind of technology they got now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God. Like, and that kind of makes sense. Like, they're like, that's when they come and just check us out because they're like, listen, guys, we're way ahead of you. We've come here before when you guys were still like making like fire with like rocks and sticks and shit. Like, we were helping you out then, and now we're like watching you guys like blow each other up. Like,
but it makes you think too, though. Like, if they've got the technology to do all that, they have the technology to send you back to the Stone Age.
What do you mean?
Because, like, just think, like, they helped them with the pyramids, right? So it makes you wonder if we were more advanced.
Why were they helping them? That's my question is, why?
Because we're their pets.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they got a nice laugh out of it or something like that.
Yeah. Look at these.
But
yeah. Look at them tiny head little buggers.
So it kind of shows intelligence, but it also shows like almost like compassion as well.
Yeah.
Like you have these beings from outer space coming, like helping us out. Like, so helping us build buildings, like what were they trying to do? I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. Why? What's the purpose of it? That doesn't make sense.
Because maybe if we stumble upon,
Let's talk to the guest here. We're talking to each other.
Okay, sorry.
This stuff, you can dive so deep into it, man.
Right. I know.
And it's such heated topics. But I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to come get a laugh from us, or like come just to see what was going on. Like, wow, look at these guys.
I think they need something from us.
Let's make a big pointy building. Come on.
I think we have technology that they need, but we haven't stumbled across it yet.
Ooh, I like that.
Using us,
right?
Oh,
right. Like they know that we have it in us, that it's something they don't have, but they worry because what they did before might have got them, like we turned on
like
them
some
last
sort of
time.
Resource or something,
right? So now if they move slowly and kind of encourage us to move in this direction or that direction, that we'll stumble upon it, and then.
My biggest thing is like, why do they keep messing with cattle? Why cattle?
Everybody likes steak.
You know what I mean?
That's very true.
Like, it's like, do they know that that's a resource for us, and they're trying to figure out why we're so interested in it? Maybe.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Maybe, yeah, or maybe they just want them for themselves. Maybe they don't have them on their home planet or another universe.
Yeah. Right. Maybe they're Hindu.
Maybe.
Is it Indian? Is it Indian that
well, there was this like, oh man, I'm gonna hijack this thing again. There was this story on last night on Ancient Aliens. So there's this place over in Southeast Asia where they found like this underground, under the water pyramid, and they're saying there's old stories in the Hindu religion about this like blue guy, one of the gods. I'm gonna botch it up. I should remember what it was. Kishnu, I think it was Kishnu.
Oh yeah.
And he was battling like this like other demon thing that was attacking the land, and they're describing this battle with like arrows and stuff, and this guy flying in the sky. He's like, bet you those two things are aliens. That's what they said last night. I was
maybe
like,
that was their Game of Thrones dragons.
What?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it fell out of the sky, and then the Nightwalkers took it.
But anyway, maybe jumping off that topic of the world, do you ever watch that show Dark Tourism?
No, I have not, but I've heard really good things about it.
It is really good.
You should check it out.
All the underlying history that people don't know about places and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes around. So like basically the idea of like me going to like Kingston just specifically because it's a creepy old town to go do a haunted walk. It's the same kind of premise. Instead of going to places for like the cool tourism, you go to places for the dark tourism. So for instance, like if you were going to go down to Dallas, Texas and see where JFK was assassinated, you used to go there to see the X. Or if you go to like this place in Brazil, or you go down to like Mexico on like Day of the Dead, you know what I mean? Like, and he kind of like goes around the world to these places and events where it's more of a dark tourist place.
That's awesome. I think that is such a smart idea for like, I feel like a lot of people would be interested in that one, and you can make like a good amount of money on it. Mm-hmm. I would be super interested in stuff like that because there's probably so many things you don't know about specific places, and you'd show up and be like, wow, this is fucking awesome. Like, I had no idea this was here, or people practice this here.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool.
It's really cool. It's a really cool documentary. I wanted to see if you had heard about it yet.
I'll check that one out too.
So, I was just gonna ask. We were talking about witches before, and you said that you didn't had any deal with like fortune tellers and stuff, but you had tarot cards reading. Can you explain a little bit more about that? What is I think we had that one lady talk about tarot cards and stuff.
Yeah, she didn't go into great detail
But
about like what exactly.
what is the point of it?
It's kind of like I don't want to say it's like getting somebody looking into a crystal ball to tell you your future or your past and stuff. I do it because I think it's super interesting, but they're cards that the psychic, I don't want to call her psychic, but the witch or the warlock kind of have feelings over, and they can get feelings from you, and they kind of I don't know like too much about them, but they can kind of project your future and tell you things about yourself that you don't know. I don't want to like say it's astronomical or like written in the stars kind of deal, but I think they're just super interesting, and they can kind of tell you more about yourself spiritually, rather than just like who you are as a person, like stuff you probably wouldn't know about yourself. And like the most common ones are like the Lovers is like a really big tarot card that people are into, and the Death tarot card, and they're really cool, especially if you have like original tarot cards, not like the fake ones. But the place that I went to in Salem a couple times, there was like these things look like ancient, and they were so interesting to me. I think they're really cool.
But for you, it's more for like the entertainment value than anything, then.
Yeah, because I don't believe in psychics. I don't believe in that kind of thing. I just do it. I just do it because it's interesting.
Yeah.
So if you guys could do, like close to you kind of thing, like if you guys could do a live podcast, not where you would be broadcasting it live, but you were recording it live on location, where would you go if you like within your driving range? Like what would you be like the you know, kind of like your anniversary podcast? Like where would you go to record live?
You're scary.
Like talking about a horror story or like paranormal?
Or like let's just say at a
maybe
at a
like
location.
both,
Yeah.
talking about the place and then interacting with it.
Yeah.
That actually is a good idea for an episode.
That's
Go
genius.
to a
I'm
place.
full of useless
Go to
ideas,
a place.
so that
Go
was
have a
one.
podcast, and then talk about that place, and then you're interacting with it as you're talking with it.
Yeah, I think that place I was telling you guys about that's close to here, that 1600s village that was wiped out by the smallpox. The history behind that place is dense. It's like very vast because it's not a huge area. It's like 5 or 6 houses that were built back then, and then like if you walk, this place is in the middle of the woods. You have to walk like 2 miles to get to it, and then 2 miles past where the foundations are, there's the graveyard where they buried their bodies. And the reason they did it so far away is because they still believed back then in like vampires or the dead could rise from the grave, and they wanted to be far enough away where the bodies couldn't come and find them after they rose from the dead. What? And I think like the history behind that place is amazing, but you can go there and you will catch EVPs, spirit voices. Any given night you go there, if you bring a recorder, I guarantee if it's a quiet night, you will get some type of response. We have this piece of equipment called the SB7 Spirit Box that sweeps through radio frequencies at super high rates, and it'll be like half a second. So it's just like a like really fast sweeping. And it said that the white noise allows a spirit to come and talk to you, or it's easier for them to go across the veil. And me and my brother were in the graveyard one night.
Wait,
and it was like,
you guys went by like volunteer, like you guys just went there in the middle of the night. You went walked 2 miles in the woods.
yep.
Oh my god, dude!
And
Oh
we
my
turned
God.
I'm out.
our spirit box on, and we were just asking questions. And it's really hard to get full sentences because the spirit has to come through the radio frequencies over like the span of 4 seconds, say. And if it's only like half a second sweeps on each radio station, the spirit has to be pretty powerful. And we turned it on, we're talking, we're getting like weird responses like hi or hello, like weird stuff. And this woman's voice comes through, and she says over like the span of 5 or 6 sweeps, the Browns are here with us. My brother looks at me, he's like, did that bitch just fucking say our last name? And then like 5 minutes later, the same lady's voice came through. My brother's name's Tyler. And it was like this high scream. It was like, Tyler! And I was like, oh my God, man. It was.
Yep.
That was probably one of-
After shitting my pants, I would run.
Hey, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever put that data on one of the podcasts, like let other people hear it, or like a YouTube videos or something?
We really want to do an episode. If we can try to clean up our audio through our recorders and stuff to make it very audible and pronounced, if you can hear the EVPs well, we want to do like a live lockdown podcast, like where we go gather evidence and then we come back and give all that evidence
That would
out.
be so cool.
So here's my list. Here's my stupid idea section. So you can get those Rode microphones that you can actually attach to iPhones. I don't know if you've seen them, but what it does is it plugs into your iPhone and it turns around the connection. So in your phones, you know how it's only an output. It repolarizes it and it turns it back in, so you can actually use it as a microphone. So you could use that. And what you should do is you guys should both be aware, like you guys are very knowledgeable in that area. Bring somebody in there that is completely clueless to what's going on, and then bring them out there and then just start describing it and just have them like individually mic their interactions of the stories of what's going on, and just you should videotape their reactions after you tell them the information.
Man, I would come down.
Oh yeah, by the way,
I would come down to that because I'd be scared. I'd be shitting my pants. I'd be like, you guys could take me someplace scary, like something like that.
I think you're gonna have to pay them to stay with you, but
their reactions would be priceless. They'd be like, what the fuck is happening?
Right? So that's what I'm saying. You have to mic them individually.
Yeah, like that same idea how you and your brother do the back and forth podcast where you do the research. You bring this person in cold. They don't know anything about the place. And then you just describe. That's a good idea, man.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
So I have one more cool story kind of to tell you from where like my one experience that I've had, which was really cool. So there's this place in Toronto. I don't like to go to Toronto a lot. We were discussing before how we said we were near Toronto and whatever. So in Toronto, there's this restaurant called the Keg. So have you heard of the Keg before?
Oh yeah.
So in Toronto, there's a specific Keg restaurant, and most Keg restaurants are just like in a building, like a regular restaurant. But this specific restaurant is built in a mansion, an old mansion, and the mansion used to be owned by Sir Wilfrid Laurier, which was one of I'm going to screw this up. I'm not going to say who he was, but I'm terrible for that. He was one of the prime ministers of Canada, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Obama?
No. Anyway, so he was one of the prime ministers years ago, and he had this giant mansion in Toronto downtown. And there was a lot of bad stuff happen there. He had like maids hang themselves. He had a daughter who died of a sickness in the room. But so they've turned this beautiful giant mansion into this restaurant. So my wife knows I'm into like I like scary stuff a little bit. So we go, she takes me to this Keg restaurant and then she goes, but I need you to know something, that this place is haunted. I'm like, what? And so you go to the restaurant, it's very beautiful. You sit down. And so I'm kind of like, where's the scary stuff? Like, what's the haunted stuff? So the server comes over and goes, hi guys. What's your drinks and stuff, and blah, 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 blah. And so I'm the type of person that I'm going to start asking people questions, and I go, maybe I'll ask the server, maybe if she knows anything. So it was kind of quiet. There wasn't a whole lot of people in the restaurant at the time, so she came back with her drinks.
It's pretty dead in there, you'd say?
Oh, my God. So, fucking idiot. So she comes back with the drinks, and I say, I hate to ask you, but I'm like, I want to ask some questions. I hear that this place is haunted, and there's some cool stories. She goes, give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back. She goes to the back. They have a whole book full of stories from people that have worked at the restaurant. And she goes,
really?
You can read this.
For first-hand accounts.
Yes, first-hand accounts.
That makes it so much more credible, in my opinion. It's not like some made-up story. If the people actually experience stuff, that's like awesome. That's so cool.
And so she says, so just so you know, the third and fourth floor, we don't ask people to go up there because it's super creepy. There's nothing up there, but it's only spaces for like the employees. So I hear that she says that in offhand. So I'm reading through these stories and I'm like, this is so cool. And I go, hey, would you mind if I ask you if you have any personal stories? And so she has a story where she's like, I've been serving for the last 15 years. I know how to hold a tray of drinks. Easy. And if I'm standing still, it's even easier. She's like, there's a bar on the third floor where we have to go up and get drinks because that's where it is. She says, I'm standing at the end of the bar. I'm having a conversation with my manager. And she's like, I'm sitting there and all of a sudden my tray gets hit out of my hand and all the drinks go flying off and just falls. She's like, I didn't drop that. Something came over and hit the drinks out of my hand and it flew and smashed everywhere. So I'm hearing these stories and they also say, so upstairs in the third floor is where the washrooms are. And where the women's washrooms are is where one of the girls died.
I pissed my pants before I got up there.
So,
100%.
Stupid me. Oh, I hope he isn't frozen. Oh, he's still there.
He's
Yeah,
good, he's
sorry.
good.
Yeah, it froze for a second. So stupid me. I go, okay, I got to go to the bathroom. I go to the wrong floor.
Oh, you idiot.
I go to the wrong
Oh
floor.
my God.
And I'm like wandering around, and I open this door, and it's like, it looks like a change room, and it's like dark, and I'm like, okay, I'm in the wrong spot. And I get like the coldest chill I've ever had.
Oh.
I book it back down the stairs because I'm trying to look for this bathroom, and I'm looking around. I'm trying to find like a person who works there. I'm like, okay, I can't find anybody. So I start going into rooms looking for people.
Oh my God.
And it is just like, I go into this one room, and it felt immediately like, I'm in the wrong place. I am absolutely in the wrong place. And luckily, there's this lady coming up the stairs, and I'm just like, I look freaked out. I'm like, I'm looking for the bathroom, but like, she's like, yeah, the bathroom's just around the corner there. But she's like, she's like, have you heard the stories about this place? I'm like, yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it.
Yeah.
So I quick just go take a quick piss. I barely even wash my hands. I run downstairs and I tell my wife, I'm like, I went to the wrong floor and I was like pissing my pants. I'm like, it's like the craziest stuff. But just to know that they have like a book full of stories, but I tell anybody, go to Toronto, go to the Keg restaurant. It's like, A, it's one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen, but two, it's like hardcore haunted. Hardcore.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love when you have firsthand accounts from people, like actual ghost stories from people. It makes it so much more credible, and especially if you're talking to them in person, you can see like their reaction to it. You can tell if they're lying or not. And if you get a really good story and the person's not lying, you're like, wow, that's some legit evidence right there that I can. Or pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, man, it was. That's just that. I find that kind of cool. I don't like the idea of, like, a ghost like scaring me or trying to like harm me, but like knowing that it's distance away, I can engage in it from a distance. That's why I find your podcast absolutely like phenomenal. Well, we love it. So,
thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Story wise, though, like since you guys started the podcast, now, like I'm not saying like you're out on the street signing babies yet, but like people coming up to you and saying like, I know you guys have that ghost podcast. I got to tell you about this. Like, do you have more of that now? Do you?
Honestly, we've had a couple people at like the local bars that we go to. We've had a couple people come up to us and try to tell us like their firsthand account ghost stories. But in our town, we've been here a while. Like a lot of people know us, and I hate to say it, but people are like, oh, here come the Brown brothers, those two wackos who always talk about ghosts and stuff. But we've had a fair amount of people come try to tell us some either legends about certain things like where they're from or just firsthand like ghost stories, which I think is super cool. And I honestly hope that picks up more as we release more episodes, because I think like being knowledgeable about this stuff and having an interest, it's even better when like you can help somebody or they can just tell you their own personal story. I think it's so cool, especially because this isn't a topic that a lot of people just like to talk about, and like they don't really have the time or like the right moment where they can actually talk about it, or else people will be like, look at them like they have 10 heads. Yeah. But I think it's cool that we could be somebody who like they can come to and tell us their spooky stories.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you had somebody that had like it was a reputable kind of story, like a reputable story that made sense, and they had enough information that if you were able to question them, that they wouldn't be able to be like, oh, I don't know. Like, that would almost be an interesting podcast for you guys as well. Like, that way you guys could even both go in cold to that type of situation too, right?
Oh, bring them in as a guest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And figure out if we're skeptical about it or not.
Yeah,
or
somebody with a first-hand account that you guys know nothing about kind of thing.
And it's like the same thing with the UFO stuff. It's like this can go so deep because it's just such a cool topic. And yeah, you guys are doing a good job, man.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to give you guys a quick shout-out on when we drop our next episode here.
Yeah, whatever.
That's
That'd
awesome.
be sweet. We
That's
appreciate
awesome.
that. So
Hell yeah.
Going forward, you guys are doing episodes coming up more and more because of the Halloween I guess the Halloween season, which is on a Saturday, which is like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I think
Hell
you guys were talking about that on the one podcast where you guys were stoked that it was going to be on a weekend.
Yeah, it's Saturday. This year it's on a Saturday. It's a full moon on Halloween.
Yeah.
And it's the night we turn the clocks back, so you have an extra hour to do whatever you want to do.
Scared out of you.
I always thought, like, for the kids too, like they should, even if it's not on a Saturday, move it to a Saturday, the closest Saturday, either the one before or after. Like, this is just nuts.
Absolutely.
Or Friday night, or at least maybe a Friday night.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yep.
Have you guys always been huge fans of Halloween in general?
Love it. Halloween not so much anymore because we're all like living in our own place. But when we were younger, Halloween was bigger. Do you guys hear something weird?
Yeah.
That was your reaction.
What the fuck was that?
Somebody just knocked on the fucking door. Get the gun.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, no way.
Well,
There's no ghost. So there's no ghosts in my house. When I first moved in here, the very first night I moved in here, there's some really freaky shit that happened. Like there was like something turning the lights off and on. I'm a religious person, so I got up and I took my Bible and I put it in the middle of the house and opened it up and then was like, "Listen, the people that were here before are gone. This is my place now. I'm in charge."
Nice.
I never had anything happen after that.
Yep, definitely.
Is Jocelyn home?
Yeah, she's upstairs though.
She's knocking on shit.
Maybe she's yeah. No,
I'm going
but
up over her.
sorry to
I'm
get
gonna
back to that. So, but yeah, Halloween's gonna be on a Saturday, and we were asking you if you guys were stoked about Saturday, like Halloween, your whole lives. Like, have you guys always been involved with Halloween?
Yeah, when we were younger, Halloween was bigger in our family than Christmas was. To tell you the truth,
That's
my
awesome.
parents. Like my parents back in the 90s used to have absolute ragers at their house with like all of our family and friends and stuff, and it was just like. I know people like celebrate Halloween on Halloween, but for us as a family, it still kind of is like a month-long thing.
Yeah.
My birthday's like one of the last days of September, so once that ends, it's literally Halloween for the next 5 weeks, pretty much. So it's always been a huge thing, like carving pumpkins and watching horror movies, and it's everything like that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Jared likes to get drunk and hand out candy.
I do.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, but I drink pumpkin beer.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the only time I drink pumpkin
Yeah.
beer.
Yep.
Shipyard Pumpkinhead, can't wait to have one.
Like,
6 chocolate bars for Peppa.
like so up here in Canada, they do like hardcore different pumpkin beers. So I get like 6 different pumpkin beers, and then I just like I don't get loaded, but. But I do up. So Ernie and I weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween when we were kids. So now that I have like my own house, I'm like I just do it up. Like,
Dude, absolutely. Do you get a lot of trick or treaters?
so I live in a subdivision and I live in a court, and we average about 200 kids.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot of kids.
Yeah, I just got a house, and last year it was raining last year,
Yep.
so we didn't get a whole lot. But I got way more than what we got when we were in Kitchener down in another area in a townhouse. But now that I moved in an actual house, yeah, we got quite a few. Even if it was raining, we got quite a bit.
It's crazy. But
Yep.
I do the whole front of the house up. I do like a scary like sound up in the tree. We got a fog machine. I put like a bunch of pumpkins out. I have ghosts in the trees. Like I do it all out, and like it's
You dress up as Mr. Leahy and stumble around.
He doesn't know who Mr. Leahy is.
Do you know Trailer
Sounds
Park?
funny.
Trailer Park
You ever
Boys?
see Trailer Park Boys?
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's him.
Okay.
Yes.
That better be the shithawks.
Yeah, they're circling.
The shithawks.
Anyway, let's keep this on track. Man, thanks for hanging out with us. So how can people get a hold of you and your podcast? Where can they catch it? Where can they hear about it? Where can they get it?
Yeah, we're on all streaming platforms pretty much. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. And all you have to type in is Brown Brothers Presents The Haunting Hour. And you can find us on Instagram. Our tag name is we're at Brown Brothers Haunting Hour. And if you guys want to send us an email, we like when people just say hi. And if they have any cool, scary stories, you can catch us at brownbroshauntinghour@gmail.com. Or just slide into our DMs on Instagram. And
Yeah. Awesome.
And they can get a hold of you for all that stuff, and then
Yeah, I'll send you some of the information that I was talking about that one Cambridge hotel. I'll send you that blog that I was reading about. I'll send you that. I think it'd be cool for you to read.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if it's like firsthand accounts, man, maybe
it is.
Maybe we'll we'll get an episode together, me and Tyler, and we'll try to dive into that one.
Yeah, I'll see what I can pull up. But I know that I for sure found that website of the dude's blogs where he was talking about it. But yeah, I'll send that your way. But thanks, man.
you guys want to go into UFOs? Like I said, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
You
So
just
when your brother
beam us up for
has
that
a
one.
free night,
Yep.
we could talk about UFOs. That'd be sweet.
Dude, absolutely.
I'm
Yeah,
sure-
I'd love to do a part two.
We'll do like a 2-way. So we'll recording you guys, and you
two-way.
record
That
recording
sounds
us.
great. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll
that
double
sounds
date.
good.
We'll double date it.
Double. Yeah. Well, I hopefully in the next like month or two, there's some more information of UFOs come out.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe there's gonna be something so profound. We're gonna be like, holy shit, we were just talking about this last month, and now there's an alien on Earth.
Right.
And then we'll bring out Elliot on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for talking with us. We had a good time. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Oh, wait.